Hello, this week we're going to be multiplying and dividing with negative numbers. The rules for multiplying and dividing with negative numbers are the same. So first, we need to look at the signs of both numbers we're multiplying or dividing, and then looking at those, we can decide what sign our answer is going to be. After we've done that, we can multiply or divide like we normally would. So to start with, our kind of control here, if we had a positive times a positive, or a positive divided by a positive, we're used to this, we would get a positive answer. So if we had 3 times 6, we'd get 18. Or if we had, and that's positive 18, or if we had 6 divided by 3, we'd get positive 2. When we're multiplying or dividing with negative numbers, if we have two numbers that have the same sign, we get a positive answer. So positive times positive, we get a positive, or negative times a negative, we get a positive answer. Or negative divided by a negative, we get a positive answer. So if I had -4 times -5, negative times a negative, those two negatives essentially cancel out. We get a positive answer. So -4 times -5 is positive 20. If I had a negative divided by negative, I'm still getting a positive answer. So if I had -15 divided by -5, I get positive 3 for my answer. Those two negatives essentially cancel out. If I have different signs between my two numbers, I get a negative answer. So if I had negative times a positive, I get a negative answer. Or if I had negative divided by a positive, I get a negative answer. So if I had -4 times 2, negative times positive gets me negative, so this is going to be -8. If I had -10 divided by 2, negative divided by positive gets me a negative, so this is going to be -5. Same thing, different signs between my two numbers, I still get a negative answer. So if I had the negative second, I'm still getting a negative answer. So if I had a positive times a negative, I get a negative answer. Or if I had a positive divided by a negative, I get a negative answer. 7 times -2. Positive times a negative gets me a negative, so this is going to be -14, because 7 times 2 is 14. And then if I had 24 divided by -8, positive divided by negative is negative. 24 divided by 8 is 3. So this is -3. When we're multiplying more than 2 or multiplying and dividing, and maybe we're doing more than two numbers, like maybe we had 7 times 2 times -3, we're going to work in pairs. So we'd start with 7 times 2 to get 14, and then multiply that by -3. Now we would do the 14 times our negative to get a negative answer. And 14 times 3 is negative 42. So it doesn't matter how many we have, we follow this pairs pattern until we get to our last two numbers. Most people like the multiplying and dividing rules for negative numbers a little bit more because they're a little more straightforward. Uh, so that's what we have for today, and we'll pick up next week with hopefully order of operations.